That was quite a Game 5. It was, the pivotal Game 5, as they all say. I love these stats we keep throwing around, like the winner of Game 5 when the series knotted up 2-2 wins 70% of the time. Well, yeah, of course, because they only got to win one more game, and the other team's got to win 2 more games. But it was huge for that reason, and in a game that felt to me the whole time like it could have gone either way, and Steph wasn't shooting it well, and the Celtics got hot in the third quarter, and all that stuff, and yet Warriors get out with a win.
Well, two. What are they? There's 2 in a row now. So if you're the Celtics, man, you feeling a certain way when you wake up this morning. Now you're flying all the way back home. Got a couple days to think about what just happened at Golden State. They've got a couple days to make adjustments, like what Jay was talking about, how they defended Steph Curry. Now Steve Curry is not going to sit there and let it happen again in Game 6, knowing that they want to close it out. Be nice to close it out at home, but guess what? You got to go to Game 7 at home. So now you don't want to have to deal with that. You get it done in Game 6. You make the necessary adjustments to get Steph Curry going, and now you close this thing out. You win it, and we're not talking about a Game 7 and having to listen to Max and his narratives about Curry. Well, it's true.
Setting up the drama, that's all.
Here's what happens as you get deeper into the playoffs and the micro adjustments of the scouting report become more heightened. There are flaws in individuals' games, and those flaws become exposed more and more. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are getting exposed. Do you know how? I watched the whole game last night. My ass is crazy enough to go back and watch tape again of the game afterwards because I wanted to see if it was actually true. In Games 4 and Games 5, the Golden State Warriors have been shading the right-hand drives of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown because when they go right, they get in their bag. They are so much more comfortable. Jason Tatum goes to his patent spin move, is able to go to work. Jaylen Brown bulldozes his way to the basket. But when these guys go left, that's when Golden State has them in the phone booth. It's really interesting to me because when you go left, typically for right-hand drivers, they get into their bag because it's like a pace dribble. They can get to the rim. They can pull up for a shimmy. But most of the time, you understand because it's almost like they know what they're going to do. Look, that's a drive, Jason Tatum going right. They're forcing shots over the contested viewers. And also, they struggle. Their efficiency goes down drastically when they drive left. So something to pay attention to for Game 6 and Game 7. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're going to have to figure it out because when they get shaded with their right hand, they're going to have to make plays going to their left and finishing or making passes with their left hand.
Jay, let me ask you this question. So, at some point in time, you had a conversation about Jason Tatum having the opportunity to get into the second level of the club. He's at the first level down below where, starving to get up top with everybody else. What does he need to do to have an opportunity to now get back into the second level?
He had 27 and 10 last night. He found his rhythm. But I think it starts off with being aggressive as soon as the game starts, Key. Give me the ball. Make some plays happen.
That's been Jaylen Brown.
Like that, yeah. Jaylen Brown got started, but it was a slow start. I wrote it down. It was the first. Jason Tatum got subbed out with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. And it's not until he came back with 4 minutes until he scored his first bucket. Now he scored 3 buckets in a row when he came back and he finally. But that was a slow start that gave their team a deficit for them to bounce back from. And they got back in the third quarter, but Key, the level of energy it sustains to play after being in the deficit.
It seems like to me, though, Max, is in order for him to get into that second level, yeah, he had 27 and 10 last night, and he played good defense at times throughout the series or whatnot, but he hasn't been scoring at high clips and high volume. But for him to get back into that second level, it seems like to me he's got to go on a historic run, and they got to win a championship for him to be put into that second level that Jay talked about a month and a half ago.
They found him in the first level, and after this series, like, you're not supposed to be here.
Who are you with, sir?
Yeah, who are you with? You got to be calm. Listen, one of the reasons is Andrew Wiggins and the defense he's been playing, let alone the offense he's been playing. Andrew Wiggins, like Steph is allowed. This series is over already if Steph's not on the Warriors. He's had an amazing series. But as Jay predicted, they changed the defense, and Steph struggled in Game 5. He needed someone to step up. Clay is catch and shoot right now, right? It's not going to be Clay off the dribble. Jordan Poole can't play defense, right? Maybe it wasn't going to be Poole, even though he hit that big shot in the third quarter, end of third quarter. It was Wiggins, 26-13 with steals and blocks and everything. But, Jay, you brought up Bob Myers earlier in the show, the GM.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to Brian Windhorst, ESPN NBA insider, of course, on SportsCenter with SVP on the impact of Wiggins. Go ahead.
Andrew Wiggins, he's not an underdog. He makes $32 million. While the Warriors were down these last couple of years, winning no games, they kept spending money because they've got it. They re-signed Draymond Green. They re-signed Steph Curry. They re-signed Kevon Looney. They kept Andrew Wiggins. And boy, did it show up tonight. Andrew Wiggins, with the supreme moment in his career, he was a throw-in a trade. Other teams would have totally gotten rid of him. They stuck with him. They have a $340 million payroll when you consider taxes. You don't just have to beat the Warriors on the court. You got to beat their checkbook. And nothing away from Andrew Wiggins tonight, but this was a checkbook win for the Warriors.
Call whatever you want. I mean, you still got to perform on the court. You know, we can sit up there and say it was a checkbook win, but if Wiggins doesn't show up and give you a prolific offensive performance, they don't win that game. So, like, and it's not like he scored at that high of a clip all the time. Like, he had 16 rebounds in Game 4. He's done a lot of other things. He was the primary defender for Luka and Jason Tatum. But, like, why I go back to Bob Myers, regardless of the checkbook, is that, you know, when that whole KD trade went down, like, he was able to get a sign and trade with the Brooklyn Nets in which they got D'Angelo Russell. And everybody thought they were going to have a three-guard backcourt. It was going to be this thing. D'Lo actually never played with Klay Thompson. Then they were able to figure out a trade in which they were able to send him to Minnesota, and they got Wiggins. It allowed them to get the pick in Kuminga. They were able to add Wiseman, even though he's not playing. That gives them length and size. They found Gary Payton II, who's been a journeyman around the league in the G League, and they got Jordan Poole with the 28th pick in the draft.
That doesn't negate Windhorst's point, but it's like the reason the Warriors have been so dominant, and this is the Lakers in the 80s, when you have arguably the best GM in the game, and you have an organization who's like, oh, yeah, carte blanche. Like,
willing to do whatever it takes.
We are willing to do whatever it takes. Now you got the most dangerous situation, which is the Warriors. A foundational superstar in Steph Curry. Also, they had a big imagination. They saw Steph and thought, we can build a championship around a guy who looks unlike anything anyone's ever built a championship around it. His size, shooting from long range. So they had a big imagination. They have a foundational superstar. They have all the resources. They have the willingness to use them. And they have a brilliant GM who... They may have missed on Wiseman. They may have used an incredibly valuable, who knows? And it doesn't matter.
But I'm not going to say it's all pocketbook, and I agree a lot of it is. But this dude was a first-time All-Star this year. He got voted in by the fans.
Yeah.
It's not like he's been playing at an All-Star level since 2019.
Yeah, but to make the decision to pay him $32 million a year rather than move
that's coming off what
from,
his contract was.
But they didn't flip him.
I'm saying they didn't flip him. They decided to pay him that money and keep it intact rather than flip him. So it has to do with knowing that you got to pay Klay, you had to pay Draymond, you had to pay Steph, and eventually you're going to have to pay Poole, right?
It gave them the luxury, yeah. Because
Jerry West made incredible moves in the 80s for the Lakers. But Dr. Buss was like, yup, I'll pay that. It's two things. That's why I'm saying they're so dangerous. Brilliant front office, foundational piece as a superstar in Steph, great culture. And then the willingness to do what it takes.
They was willing to pay two dudes with injuries. Remember, with KD, they were going to pay him. And then Klay got hurt. They paid him. So they was willing to pay two dudes with injuries. Most teams in professional sports aren't willing to go over luxury taxes or pay guys, no matter who they are, when they got injuries, that type of money.
Jay doesn't like it, though. Something about it rubs you the wrong way.
Cleveland. What did Cleveland just pay Deshaun Watson? I know that opens up a whole can of worms, but that's where the market's going. $250 million, right?
No, I get that part. I'm just talking about from an injury standpoint.
I hear what you're saying.
Not really knowing what that could be, but your pocketbook is so heavy, it doesn't matter. You got so much money, you can go over the luxury tax. You can pay people whatever it is.
You can still miss.
No, you can't.
You can still miss on people.
But one thing, I think the thing you're having a little bit of an allergic reaction to.
We can talk about that when we come back from the break, though.
Yeah, you're thinking it takes credit away in a way.
It does take credit away from what you're performing on the court.
All right. This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, presented by Progressive Insurance. Coming to you live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. Jay does not like credit getting taken away and has said all along that one NFL franchise